What if I told you that loneliness doesn't always look like being alone? That sometimes it looks like laughter in a crowded room, conversations that mean nothing, and a smile that slowly becomes a mask. Because the truth is, a person can be surrounded by people and still feel completely invisible. Not for a day, not for a week, but for years. My name is Arius Bloom. I'm 51 years old, and I'm from the United Kingdom. And this is Hidden Chapters. But before I go any further, let me ask you something. Have you ever smiled in front of people and then sat alone later in complete silence, wondering, what's wrong with me? Have you ever felt everything so deeply that even words failed you? Like your emotions were too heavy, too complex, too much. Because that's where my story begins. Not with one tragedy, not with one breaking point, but with small, quiet moments. Moments no one noticed. Moments where I slowly stopped speaking, stopped explaining, stopped expecting anyone to understand. There was a time in my life when I believed I was strong. I showed up, I worked hard, I laughed when I needed to. I said, I'm fine, even when I wasn't, especially when I wasn't. And over time, that version of me became permanent. You see, the dangerous thing about silence is that it grows. It builds walls, layer by layer, until one day you're standing inside a life that doesn't feel like yours anymore. And the scariest part? No one notices. Because from the outside, you look fine. But inside, you're tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of explaining. Tired of feeling everything alone. And that's when it hit me. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of being understood. There was a time in my life where I had everything I thought I needed, but somehow I had never felt more empty. And that's where everything began to change. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly. Because sometimes the biggest shifts in life don't come from noise. They come from the moments when you finally stop running from yourself. When everything looked fine from the outside, people were there, life was moving, nothing seemed broken. But inside, something was shifting. Not loud enough to notice, not clear enough to understand. Just there. A quiet change. Something I didn't understand. Something I couldn't explain. And the hardest part? It didn't happen all at once. There was no warning. No single moment I could point to and say, that's where everything changed. It happened slowly. So slowly that I didn't even realize when I started losing myself. It wasn't like I woke up one day feeling lost. It was smaller than that. Subtle. Like laughing a little less each time. Like choosing silence instead of explaining how I feel. Like saying, I'm okay, a little too often. Until one day, I'm okay became a habit. And the truth became something I didn't even recognize anymore. There were things I went through that I've never fully spoken about. Not because I forgot, but because I didn't know how to put them into words. Moments I kept to myself. Moments that didn't look important to anyone else, but meant everything to me. Things I saw, things I felt, things that stayed with me long after they were gone. Memories don't always leave. Some of them, they settle inside you, quietly, changing the way you think, the way you feel, the way you see yourself. And maybe you know exactly what that feels like. Maybe you've been there too, sitting in a room full of people, but feeling like you don't belong anywhere, smiling while something inside you is slowly breaking. Because some pain doesn't make noise. It doesn't scream. It doesn't ask for attention. It hides behind normal conversations, behind daily routines, behind a version of you that everyone else believes. And over time, you get so good at hiding it that even you start believing it's not there. Until one day, you feel it all at once, and you realize you were never okay. You were just distracted. And that's the thing no one tells you. The most dangerous pain is the one you learn to live with. It just stays quietly inside you, not asking for attention, not demanding to be seen, just existing like a weight you forget you're carrying, until it becomes too heavy to ignore. There were times when I felt like I was disappearing. Not physically, I was still there, still showing up, still responding when people called my name. But emotionally, I was fading. Mentally, I was somewhere else. It felt like I was living two lives at once. One that everyone could see, and another that no one knew existed. I was there for everyone else, listening, helping, understanding. But when it came to myself, there was nothing left. No energy, no clarity, no sense of who I was becoming. And the strange thing is, even when people were around me, even in the middle of conversations, laughter, noise, something always felt missing. Not something physical, something deeper, something I couldn't name, something I couldn't fix. Like trying to solve a problem without knowing what the problem is. And that's where it gets dangerous, because when you can't name it, you can't fight it. You just live with it. And slowly, it becomes a part of you. And then, there came a phase that changed me completely. Not in a way people could see. There were no dramatic signs, no sudden breakdown, just a shift. A quiet, irreversible shift. The kind that changes the way you think, the way you feel, the way you see everything. I won't tell you what happened, not yet, because if I told you everything right now, you wouldn't feel it the way I did. You wouldn't sit with it. You wouldn't carry it. You wouldn't understand how it slowly built up before it finally broke something inside me. Some stories are not meant to be rushed. They're meant to be felt, step by step, moment by moment, layer by layer. Because the truth is, what changed me didn't happen in a single moment. It was coming long before I realized it. And when it finally did, there was no going back. So if you're still here, listening, feeling this, then maybe you're ready to understand what happened next. Step by step, chapter by chapter. That's how stories are meant to be told. Not rushed, not forced, but experienced. And that's exactly what this channel is. Not just a place to talk, but a place to slowly uncover the parts of life we hide, the parts we don't post, the parts we don't explain, the parts we don't even fully understand ourselves. the quiet struggles, the unspoken thoughts, the emotions we learn to bury just to get through the day. Because the truth is, the things that shape us the most are rarely the things we show the world. They live underneath, in silence, in memory, in moments we try to forget, but somehow never do. And here, we don't ignore them. We face them, gently, honestly, one layer at a time. I'm going to share my story, but not all at once, because there isn't just one story. There are many. Some painful, the kind that stays with you, the kind that changes you. Some confusing, the kind that leaves you questioning everything, including yourself. And some I'm still trying to understand, still trying to make sense of, still trying to accept. Because healing isn't a straight line. It's messy, it's slow, and sometimes it feels like you're going backwards. But maybe that's part of the process too. And maybe some of these chapters will feel like your own. Maybe you'll hear something, a single sentence, a single thought, and it will hit you, not loudly, but deeply. And you'll think, that's exactly how I feel. Maybe for the first time, you won't feel strange. You won't feel broken. You won't feel alone in what you're going through. Maybe you'll finally understand something you've been trying to explain for years, but never found the right words for. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a piece of yourself again. A part of you thought was gone, or lost, or buried too deep to ever come back. Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment of clarity, one feeling of being understood, to remind you you were never truly lost. You were just unheard. And maybe that changes everything. Because here's the truth, the one no one really says out loud. You are not weak. You were never weak. Not for feeling too much, not for caring too deeply, not for breaking in silence while still showing up for everyone else. That's not weakness. That's strength in its quietest form. You've just been carrying things silently for too long. Things no one saw, things no one asked about, things you didn't even know how to explain. So you held it in. You learned to function, to smile, to move forward, even when something inside you was asking you to stop. And that kind of weight, it changes a person. Not all at once, but slowly. It changes how you think, how you react, how you trust, how you love. It makes you stronger in ways no one notices, and tired in ways no one understands. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're the one who feels everything, but says nothing. The one who overthinks every little detail, every word, every moment. The one who goes through things and never talks about them. Not because you don't want to, but because you don't know where to start. Or maybe you're just used to being the strong one, the one people rely on, the one who listens, but is never really heard. This space is for people like that, for people who feel deeply, who think endlessly, who carry more than they show. For the ones who sit in silence, trying to make sense of everything inside them. For the ones who are still searching for answers, for clarity, for themselves. If that's you, then stay. Not for me, but for yourself. Because this isn't just my story. It might be yours too. And maybe, somewhere in these words, you'll find something you've been missing. A feeling of being understood. A moment of clarity. A reason to finally face what you've been avoiding. And this time, we're not going to rush it. We're not going to ignore it. We're not going to hide from it. We're going to understand it. Slowly. Honestly. Together. One hidden truth. One quiet realization. One step at a time. One hidden chapter at a time.